पहले एक चीज मैं जानना चाह रहा था, इन्होंने कहा मुझे बाइलिंगुअल बोलना है, उसमें समय बहुत, क्या सब लोग अगर अंग्रेजी समझते हैं तो मैं अंग्रेजी में बोल सकता हूं? Can I speak in English? Can everyone understand? Okay. So I'll speak in English. Basically, the Delhi government wanted to privatize Delhi's water supplies. Delhi's residents protested, and finally the government had to withdraw this whole project, and they withdrew their loan application to World Bank. What was this project? I will very briefly, 2-3 points I will tell you to demonstrate how bizarre this project was. The entire Delhi is divided into 21 water zones, and this project said that the management of each water zone would be handed over to a private multinational company. This company would send 4 experts to each zone to run that zone, and the salary of each expert would be $25,000 per month per person, which was 11 lakh rupees per month per person, and this came to 108 crore rupees per annum, and the total budget of Delhi Jal Board is 163 crore rupees, which means that 60% of the total budget of Delhi Jal Board would have gone to meet the salaries of the foreign experts. So naturally we did a rough calculation, and we calculated that the water tariffs in Delhi would need to be raised at least 9 times if this whole project was implemented. There was absolutely no accountability of the companies which were coming, and it was a completely bizarre project. Now this whole project started in 1998. In 1998, for the first time, Delhi government approached the World Bank for a loan to improve its water sector. And this whole project was going on in complete secrecy. There were very few people, like the Union of Delhi Jal Board came to know something about it, and they started making noises about it. In 2004 November, Asian Age came up with a story saying that the Delhi Jal Board was planning to privatize its water supplies. When we read this story, we filed an RTI application, Right to Information application, saying that please give us copies of all the files dealing with this project. Initially, Delhi Jal Board refused that there was any such project, but when we went in appeal, they finally admitted that yes, there was a project, and it was ordered that all these documents should be made available to us. And finally, in 6 months' time, we got 9,000 pages of documents. And this included the bidding documents, it included the correspondence between the World Bank, central government, state government, it included various consultant reports, etc., etc. When we went through these documents, as I've shown you some of the examples, it was a completely bizarre project. And this was not just our finding, because we've sent all these documents to IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore, and 35 professors from IIM Bangalore, 15 professors from IIM Ahmedabad wrote to the Prime Minister that withdraw this project. Similarly, we sent these documents to the alumni associations of IIT Kharagpur, IIT Delhi, and they did a press conference. The alumni associations of both these institutes did a press conference in Delhi and said that withdraw this project. And then we went around all over Delhi doing various public meetings in various parks with various resident welfare associations. We have some representatives here from resident welfare associations who will also speak to you. And there was a lot of protest, and finally the government withdrew this project, and they withdrew the loan application to the World Bank. But I just want to show you the manner in which the contracts were given out in this project. I just want to demonstrate one such contract. As I said, we have 9,000 pages of information, and there were complete scam, the manner in which the World Bank was intervening in granting contracts to various parties. But I just want to show you, this is for demonstration. For instance, as I said, in 1998, Delhi government first approached World Bank saying that, please give us a loan, we want to improve our water sector. World Bank said, okay, we'll give you a loan, but first you hire a consultant who will tell you what needs to be done. In order to hire the consultant, the World Bank gave a loan of $2.5 million, which is 10 crore rupees, which is peanuts. Because Delhi government is the only government perhaps in the country which has a surplus budget. It does not have a deficit budget. It is a cash-rich government. It does not need $2.5 million. It does not need 10 crore rupees. Just like Sitaram was saying that they don't need 3.5 crore rupees. But nevertheless, Delhi government took this money. They invited bids. Initially, 35 companies applied for this consultancy project. And the rule was that in the first round, the top 6 companies were supposed to be shortlisted. Now, the documents indicate the World Bank was interested right from the beginning that this contract should go to PricewaterhouseCoopers. We don't know why the World Bank was interested, but I will show you how the World Bank was interested. Now, the rule was that in the first round, the top 6 companies should be shortlisted. I have some pages here which you can see after this whole thing. The first page is, these are all documents that we obtained under the Right to Information Act. Now, the first page is the top 10 companies. And the name of the PricewaterhouseCoopers exists at the 10th position. Since the rule was that the top 6 companies should be shortlisted, so naturally PricewaterhouseCoopers should have been deleted at this stage. But next page is a file noting from Delhi Jal Board's files, where an officer has written that PricewaterhouseCoopers, though ranked at number 10, have been selected to meet the requirement of the World Bank, that is, at least one company should be from a developing country. So PricewaterhouseCoopers was declared as an Indian company, and they were brought up from 10th position to 6th position. Now, these top 6 companies were asked to submit their technical bids and financial bids. They submitted their bids. Now, the rule was that the company which gets less than 75% marks in technical bid would be scrapped, and the companies who get more than 75% marks, only their financial bids would be opened. Now, this page is the score sheet of which company got how many marks in technical bids. PricewaterhouseCoopers got 68% marks in this round. Now, when these results were communicated to the World Bank wrote a fax message. Next is a fax message from the World Bank to Delhi Jal Board. And this fax message says that the selection criteria used by Delhi Jal Board is not correct. Change the selection criteria. And the last paragraph of this fax message says that please explain why did you give such low marks to PricewaterhouseCoopers. The next page is a letter. In response, Delhi Jal Board wrote a letter to World Bank. Next page is a letter from Delhi Jal Board, which says that we had used the same selection criteria which was given by you. Now, please don't force us to change the sub-criteria at this stage. But World Bank did not agree. Next page is a fax message from World Bank which says that nothing doing, you cancel all the bids, call for fresh bids. After this, a meeting of Delhi Jal Board took place. This meeting was chaired by the Chief Minister of Delhi. These are minutes of the meeting. And these minutes of the meeting state that the World Bank is violating its own guidelines. Changing the sub-criteria at this stage would be terribly embarrassing for Delhi Jal Board and would even be questioned by the affected firms. So in this meeting, it was decided that Delhi government should send senior officers to World Bank to persuade them not to bully them like this. So Delhi government, the Principal Secretary Finance, the Member Finance and Chief Executive Officer of Delhi Jal Board, these 3 people went to Delhi Jal Board and tried to persuade them. But World Bank finally, this is a letter from World Bank, they finally wrote that nothing doing, we've gone through all your requests, you cancel all the bids and call for fresh bids. All the bids were cancelled, fresh bids were invited. Again, the rule was that the company which got less than 75% marks should be dropped. Now, this is a score sheet of which company got how many marks. This time, PricewaterhouseCoopers got 73% marks. They still did not qualify. When these results were communicated to the World Bank said that please tell us which member of your evaluation committee gave how many marks to which company. So these results were communicated to the World Bank. Now, this is a fax message from World Bank. Incidentally, there was one person called R.K. Jain in this committee. R.K. Jain had given the lowest marks to PricewaterhouseCoopers. This is a fax message from World Bank which says that R.K. Jain has not done a good job, remove his marks. And this is a letter from Delhi Jal Board to World Bank saying that as per your instructions, we have removed R.K. Jain's marks, and this is how PricewaterhouseCoopers technically qualified. When these documents came out, it raised a very important question. Are we citizens of an independent India? Are we citizens of an independent India? Who is running, because the Chief Minister also appears completely helpless before the World Bank. We don't need 10 crore rupees. Chief Minister did not need 10 crore rupees. But why was she completely helpless before Delhi Jal Board? We didn't get answers to these questions. But as I said, we have 9,000 pages of information and we live in a democracy. Who should decide what kind of water delivery structures should Delhi have? Should it be decided by the people of Delhi or should it be decided by the World Bank? The manner in which the whole project was designed is also an eye-opener. For instance, this is one of those fax messages which show how this whole project was designed. I would just read out 3 lines from this fax message. It says, World Bank is writing a fax message to Delhi Jal Board. It says line 5 of clause 2.1. Replace words this with words this. Clause 3.1.1b. Add words this at the end of words this. If this is not dictation, then what is dictation? Each and every word, comma, full stop of this whole project was dictated by the World Bank. Now, we made a formal complaint to the World Bank. We made a formal complaint to the World Bank president in Washington also. And one day I got a phone call from their Washington office saying that they have gone through all our complaints and they did not find any wrongdoing against any individual officer of the World Bank. So we had a long discussion, but I said one of our points is that, does India need a World Bank loan today? Because, you see, we need to understand that why does a country go for a World Bank loan? Primarily for 2 reasons. Number 1, either we have a foreign exchange problem, or number 2, we are a bankrupt country and we need money. Today, whatever economic position we have, I don't think either of these 2 conditions are satisfied. We have a huge foreign exchange reserve and we have throbbing capital markets where the government, if it goes to the capital market, it can raise any amount of money. And secondly, let's also understand that World Bank is not a developmental bank. It is basically a commercial bank. It has primarily 2 branches. One is IBRD and one is IDA. IDA gives soft loans, but IBRD gives loans on commercial terms. Now, most of the loan that is being borrowed by India lately is on commercial terms. It is being lent by IBRD and not IDA. So IBRD basically borrows money from capital markets of developed countries and it lends to developing countries. So naturally it wants to earn money out of that. So it's basically a commercial bank like any other bank, like Citibank, like any other bank. It's a commercial bank. It wants to earn money. So we need to understand that. And today the effective rate of interest, for instance, in this Delhi Jal Board project, the effective rate of interest to Delhi Jal Board was coming to 12% per annum. 12% is a very high rate of interest. Now, if Delhi government tries to raise this money from capital market, they can easily raise any amount of money at 6 to 7% rate of interest, which is roughly half that rate of interest. So, does India forget everything else? Even pure financial and economic terms, does India need a World Bank loan today? We should treat World Bank like any other bank. We should negotiate with them with any other. So when this woman called me up from Washington office, I said that, does India need a World Bank loan today? Because our interest rates have gone down so substantially, and the rate that you charge is pretty high. So she said, I completely agree with you, but if your government is coming to us and borrowing, then we can't stop it. We'll be very happy to give it to you. So she said, you go and argue with your government. Why are you arguing it with us? And that's where we realized that we don't need to fight with the World Bank. We have to fight with our own governments. That why are they going to the World Bank and begging before them? And lastly, I just want to tell you that this entire water sector, I don't think delivering water is a rocket science. It's a pretty simple thing. It's a very simple logic. For instance, I'll just place certain statistics before you of Delhi's water situation. These are all statistics which have been given by the World Bank consultants, and there is something seriously wrong with these statistics. Because Delhi, PricewaterhouseCoopers, which did the entire study, they say that the total water production in Delhi is about 680 million gallons per day. Now, if you divide this 680 million gallons per day by the total population of Delhi, which is about 1.5 crores, you get about 230 liters per capita per day of water availability. Now 230 liters of per capita per day means 11 buckets of water per citizen per day, whether rich or poor, which is a very high water availability by any international standards. I mean, I don't think there are too many countries in the world who have this kind of water availability. Now, if the 11 buckets of water is available for every citizen, where is this water going? This water is not reaching our taps. So they say that there is 50% of leakage. If there is 50% of leakage, still there is 110 liters of water per capita per day available. That is 5 buckets of water for every citizen. Even this water is not reaching our taps. So where is this water going? It's a mystery. Now, if there is 50% of leakage, this means that roughly about 340 million gallons of water per day is coming on the streets of Delhi. If you allow this water to come on streets of Delhi for a few days, there will be flood in Delhi. So there is something seriously wrong with this leakage figure also. There cannot be so much of leakage. So when we said this to them, they said, no, it's the underground pipelines which are leaking. So we said, if it is underground pipelines which are leaking, the water table should rise in Delhi. But that is also not happening. So there is something wrong with these figures. So therefore, in order to find what the correct thing was, we filed a right to information application in Delhi Jal Board. We said that please tell us, Delhi does not have its own water production, it gets all its water from outside. So we said, please tell us, there are 6 water inputs, there are 6 points from which water enters Delhi. At each water input, please tell us what is the bulk water meter reading for the last 1 month, daily bulk water meter reading. Next, please tell us, once this water enters Delhi, it goes to the water treatment plant. So please tell us what is the bulk water meter reading at the input and output of this water treatment plant. So they said that they don't have any bulk water meters at the input of Delhi. So if they don't have any bulk water meters at the input of Delhi, how do they know how much water enters Delhi every day? So we said, please tell us how much is the bulk water meter reading for input and output of the water treatment plants. They said the bulk water meters of these plants are not working for the last 5 years. So no one knows how much water actually enters. This is all in writing with us. No one knows how much water enters Delhi every day. No one knows how much water goes to the water treatment plant. And no one knows how much water is treated by these water treatment plants. So we said that post-water downstream, after water treatment plants, please tell us where all do you have bulk water meters in Delhi and give us their bulk water meter readings for the last 1 month. They said after that they don't have any bulk water meter in Delhi. So no one knows how much water is distributed in which part of Delhi. So we had a meeting with the chairperson of Delhi Jal Board and we asked him, we said कि कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं कुछ गलती है इन figures में कि किसी junior clerk ने, are all these things correct that you don't have any bulk waters at the entrance, you don't, he says yes, this is correct. So we said then how do you give out in the media that Mehrauli zone has 13 liters per capita per day and this NDMC zone has this much? How do you calculate these figures? How do you give it out to the media? He says वो पंप चलाते हैं 1 घंटा पंप चल जाता है तो इतना पानी चला ही गया होगा, we assume. So this is not engineering. वो धर्मशाला चला रहे हैं कि दिल्ली जल बोर्ड चला रहे हैं? So all that I'm trying to say, so we just requested, I said one simple thing that you need to do is to put proper bulk water meters at different parts of your distribution system. And one bulk water meter costs you roughly 40,000 rupees. It's not even a huge expenditure. So put 6 bulk water meters at the entrance of Delhi, put bulk water meters at the water treatment plants, and for every zone, there are 21 water zones. At the input and output of every zone, if you put bulk water meters, you would know how much water did I give to which executive engineer today. And therefore, but they have not done it in the last 3 years. I think after 2 years again, they will start the bogey of that they want to privatize Delhi's water supplies because Delhi's water supplies. So this is all I wanted to share with you. I'll request, we have Mr. S.P. Gupta, Colonel Shivraj, and if there are other members of RWA who have come, या अगर यूनियन के लोग कुछ आए हैं तो वो अगर आके कुछ बात रखना चाहे, I'll invite Mr. Gupta and Colonel Shivraj to say. Thank you.